The culture of Cambodia is to love your family. Family means everything to us. We also want to keep that relationship even they're gone. You still have their stories you can embrace. You still have connection and remember each other.
We couldn't learn how to read, write during the Khmer Rouge era. It's not legal.
Educated, like doctor, everything, they go take care. They don't want no smart people.
My parents' story affects my children. I hope that sharing my parents' story will help them know what their grandparents did for them.
There are a few lands in which the past bleeds so much into the present. In Cambodia, people follow traditions that no one can tell you the origin of, handed down in an esoteric language that few people in the rest of the world care to learn. And the genocide, it's right there.
When they talk about Khmer Rouge, they would say, we were in prison for 3 years, 8 months, and 23 days. Prison without wall.
The name of the project is the Cambodia Oral History Project. It's to collect stories of people, especially who came of age during the Khmer Rouge period.
And the main purpose is to keep the records of the Cambodian people.
Many of the records were destroyed, and in fact intentionally so, to demoralize people by destroying their family records.
Being able to remember their roots and being able to remember what it means to be Cambodian, what their ancestors, what their parents have been through, their grandparents have been through, I think is so valuable for them.
If you don't know history of your family, it's kind of like you kind of lost your own identity.
We have the largest repository of these stories anywhere in the world as far as we know. There is an urgency to get these stories done. Up to 1/3 or even more of that generation was eliminated during that Khmer Rouge period.
Some teenagers, when their parents told them about the stories or about Khmer Rouge, some of them actually didn't believe it. They said, there's like no such thing like that, you know?
During the war, we were running from our home. We were starving, we were hungry, we were thirsty, and we don't have much to eat. I was traded to a Thai family. They took me and in turn give my dad a bag of rice.
Some of them, they are able to open up and share with you the stories that they never shared with anyone else before. To me, I think that they are the lessons for us to learn, that even they're not happy stories to hear, but they're important stories that we need to learn.
In country, the way we collect the history is we have peer leaders, which are younger people who are trained to facilitate. We have an intern from BYU, and he or she then works with the local coordinator. And then we have a set of standard questions.
We actually usually try to have the children of the person being interviewed conduct the interview. Then they get to hear the stories of their parents or grandparents firsthand.
We presented at the Long Beach, California ward.
The story should be known by the younger generations to understand where you come from.
A lot of them immediately wanted to be interviewed.
I'm going to put my dad's story up onto the website.
So I have a mom that is kind of like a disability, so I will go home and try to get her record going.
Just to have it in history is a wonderful thing. Your kids, your grandkids, and for future generation to look back.
I also think that I will have the opportunity to go interview a lot more people that I know within the community.
Hai Campuchia ចូលចិត្តគម្រោងនេះមែនតើចូលចិត្តដល់ខ្ញុំមានឱកាសជួយថែរក្សាជីវប្រវត្តិរបស់ប្រជាជនខ្មែរ
So on campus, there are a lot of BYU students that served in Cambodia. So all these return missionaries that served in Cambodia, they would volunteer to translate those interviews from Cambodian to English.
Our missions are just like for our lives. And Cambodia will always be a part of you. Keep up the language as best as you can. I know it's not used anywhere else. And so that's why you are so privileged to have this opportunity to use the language, whether it be monthly, weekly, on Sundays, whenever you can, just give us a little translation.
I'm translating an interview of somebody who I baptized, and so I think a big motivation for these people helping is hearing these stories of people that they love.
ខ្ញុំមានការតស៊ូហើយនឹងសេចក្តីសង្ឃឹមជីវិតខ្ញុំបានមកដល់សប្តាហ៍នេះ
I'm so happy and so blessed from God.
Whenever I feel like my life is hard, I can reflect back to their stories and make me realize that there's a lot of things that I should be grateful for.